Peter Head scurrying down the stairs. What a hulk of a man. And what a comfort to people who are sick everywhere. I mean, sick people live. Oh, it's going to start again. Has it been resolved why people want high-powered weapons? I mean, isn't it the basic thing? Say to the people, why do you want it? Oh, it's my right. No. Why do you need the gun? Oh, it's my right. No. Hello? You could call down the barrel, couldn't you? Why do you need this high-powered gun? Oh, it's my right. Hello? What do you use the gun for? Oh, I don't use it. If someone comes to my front door, I'll kill them. I see. Oh, that's comforting. Where do you live? We'll send some of our friends round. And an interview with the New South Wales cricket captain Greg Matthews about his hair length. And does he really hop in the pool with his hair like that? And does he use a Victor Mower lawn now? It's gone too far. He has to use a Victor Mower lawn. He lies down in front of it at the cricket field. I threw those bits in. He does. He keeps showing us. Actually, I don't mind Greg without the hair. I'm that kind of guy. Apparently, he initially caught the public's eye by being the first Australian cricketer to wear an earring and play air guitar. Air guitar? What's that? During games. What's an air guitar? Oh, does he you sure that's what he was doing? Yes, I don't think you should have the earring. I think, Greg, that's really silly. I mean, girls wear earrings. You're a bloke. Although, if the hair gets any longer... Social Security Minister Senator Jocelyn Newman, hello, Newman, will this week announce details of a plan for Australia's jobless to keep a dole diary of their attempts to find work. Dear diary, once again they rejected me. Is it because I'm in local theatre? What does this all mean? P.S. He had gorgeous eyes. Wouldn't they be lovely diaries? We could have them read on Radio National. They could do it each morning. They might as well. It's understood the diary will be compulsory for all recipients of unemployment benefits. A spokeswoman, I have no idea what that would be. I have no idea what a spokeswoman would be for Senator Newman. Says the diary will be distributed to the unemployed by the Department of Social Security and will have hints on how to get a job. Hello, darling. You want to get a job? Why don't you start working then? Do anything. What a funny thing to tell you that came on AOP about Atlanta. In fact, we might try and talk to someone, a disc jockey, someone in Atlanta, find out, is the town abuzz with what's happening there? And did I hear on the weekend somewhere that you can't bring water into the stadium? There's something like, I think it costs about $15 for 3 litres or something, and there's no bubblers there or something? A bit, well, they're just trying to make money, or they've got poor plumbing contracts, I don't know. Aren't you glad you're not the Olympics? So am I. Did you see this story the other day? Wawa is suing HaHa over a silly name. Did you see that one, did you? There's a thing called Wawa, the WAWA food store chain in Allentown, PA. That means Pennsylvania, fella. They got 500 outlets in 5 states, is demanding in a federal lawsuit that the lone HaHa market, H-A-H-A, in Sapestown, change his name. The U.S. District Judge Edward Kahn was unable to work out a compromise, so the issue is going to court on July the 12th. Well, it went, didn't it? Tamerley and George Huff, the second, said they decided on HaHa only after vetoing half and half. I don't know if they're still HAAF. I like that. Wawa says HaHa is deceiving the public into believing it has a Wawa connection. Ah, dear, there's probably a Wawa pedal there somewhere, isn't there? Oh, the things that people fight about with all this Olympic stuff. Now, I should do a little bit of Olympic sports stuff for you because it is sort of that time, and I love the ones that are on drugs. I just think it's wonderful. How dumb are they? Triple Olympian Nicole Stevenson says the much maligned Chinese swimmers are no more muscular than their Australian counterparts. Oh, she's right then, of course. Yes, those photos lied. Stephen, who's at 25, is one of the oldest members of the Australian swimming team in Atlanta, got a peek at the Chinese near the end of one of their training sessions. She says there didn't appear to be any difference in the body shape of the Chinese and Australian swimmers. There you go. What does that mean? Does that mean we're all the same? Iran has omitted 3 athletes from its Olympic team for taking steroids before departing for the Atlantic Games. The Jamhuri Islami newspaper reports that Mohammad Reza Toloui and Abbas Abdi have been, not those two, goodness, have been dropped from the judo team, and Shaheen Nassarinya has been omitted from the weightlifting team after testing positive for steroids. The newspaper says the Iranian National Athletics Association will determine other suspension and punishment for the athletes. They'd have strange punishments over there. Those people might never walk again. If they do, it'll be a bit of a limp, won't it? There you are. You like that? A bit of sporting news? Oh, dear. I still think it's not too late for the drug Olympics. I really don't think it's too late, you know. Where you can take any drug you like, as long as you remain conscious. Well, even then, that doesn't matter. I'm going to try and find out what it's like in Atlanta. Because, you see, that will sort of remind us what it's going to be like here in a few years. There must be someone there. What about, is there some little disc jockey who might finish about this time who'd be all hyper? Hey, yeah, you a jock? No, I'm not a jock. Funny little person. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Yes, I love those minimal lyrics. We got a press release from Triple J. I'll read it to you. It's 24 minutes to 8. They had a big meeting yesterday where people said that the ABC is sacrosanct. No, it isn't. Nothing is. And nothing lasts forever except eternity. Save Triple J, it says. The Young National Party of Australia, New South Wales, is urging the federal government to think twice about making any funding. What if they already thought twice? What happens then? Oh, could you think one more time than you have already? We've thought 3 times. Oh, just a sec. We thought 3 times. What do you reckon? 4? Oh, no, that'll do. Thank you. There you are. How did I do that? Anyway, the State Treasurer of the New South Wales Young National Party said, the Young National feels that Triple J plays a vital role in the culture of Australia. On the subject of culture, the last time I heard Triple J, which was a few weeks ago, actually quite a while, they were giving an extended program on how to grow marijuana, which contravenes the law and, of course, encourages people to go dopey. Is this part of the role in their culture of Australia? Is it? The lack of discipline? Is that it? And where the presenters on air, there are no challenge and no threat and everything's sloppy. Is that what you want, is it? I see, right. Okay. Yes, the bad instructions are here. What, the plant's died? Oh, and you can't get your money back? Yeah. I mean, Triple J could be far better. That's what I'm saying. Perhaps I'm an idealist. I'm not being critical in terms of it shouldn't be there. It should be far. Perhaps they could restart with Quadruple J. Except most of them couldn't say quadruple, could they? This is, the J's. Meanwhile, Mr. Kennett is for some reason optimistic that Western Australia, the recalcitrant, love that term, state, they've decided they like the crimping idea. But he says, now this is while they'll fall into line, the only state hanging out, is because it'll avert the threatened $50 million referendum. It's the money that will make the difference, not the conscience, not the feeling of doing the right thing, but otherwise... but if someone wants to crimp their guns, you say, you realise it's going to cost $50 million for a referendum. Well, I don't care. I'll shoot you, you bastard. And by the way, do you know how to grow marijuana? I can't pick up Triple J. You see? Always a bit too young. I think you should start school when you're about 16 or 17. Go for a couple of weeks, and then get onto the drugs. It's wonderful today. Absolutely spiffy. Gorgeous. Much better than Atlanta. Well, Station 1, I'm back in Sydney. Why have I been sent over here? 17 around the metropolitan area. It's going to be just like Saturday. Saturday was gorgeous, except I wandered around our new Olympic village and got lost. It was the signs that put me off. Might speak to Mr. Knight about that and say, excuse me, sir, have you actually driven around there? Oh, yeah, you're right, you know.
I'm Andrew Moore at the Sports Desk, updating the Olympics.
Before you go, do you see this item here, did you, that came through from Ben Johnson?
Ben Johnson, yeah. I didn't want to mention it because I really don't take much that he says...
Why?
For granted.
Why? You and he used to be mates.
No, I don't think we're ever mates.
You were mates. You used to be at the pub all the time. They say, where's Andrew Moore? Is it bloody at the pub with Ben Johnson?
Well, I was just out training with him normally.
Yeah, okay. You don't want me to mention it then? All right, I won't mention it.
Well, I just think...
No,
No, we're not going to mention it now.
No, I'm with you. You're a man who understands where the sporting pulse is.
Well, at least if we mention it, then we can sort of ridicule him a bit.
Oh, I might not want to ridicule him.
Well, wouldn't you? The bloke's a cheat.
All right, disgraced... I love that, disgraced. Right, disgraced sprinter Ben Johnson claims most athletes wanting Olympic glory are on drugs, but their cheating would be covered up by officials.
Yeah, well, Ben's a highly credible source.
But he'd know, you see. This is the point.
Yeah, but he got caught.
But he'd know, wouldn't he?
I don't think he'd know much.
Don't you think so? Golly, you fell out with him in a big way, didn't you?
We had to...
Was it over a chick, was it?
No. I just don't like cheats too much.
Don't you?
No.
All right. Okay.
Oh, I'll be a lot happier when I come back next at about 7:45, if we don't have to mention Ben Johnson again.
I'll mention Ben Johnson now.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
I've been covering for you for years. Remember the other place I covered for? They said, what's wrong with that new bloke, Andrew? I said, look, he's only young. Look, he needs encouragement. Remember I went to defend you?
I remember you. I don't never recall you defending me. I recall you doing other things.
Oh, it might have been someone else then. That was Andrew Moore. Available in the one inconvenient size. It's 7:18. Mr. Coates continues to encourage our athletes. Yeah, they should have bloody done better. We're paying for them. Isn't it good to have Mr. Coates there, isn't it? Just when you thought it was okay to come second, along comes Coates. The world is a very aggressive place. It is 19 minutes past 7. This is 2GB. My name is Robertson, and there's no reason why we can't have some sort of relationship. No, it's not going to be intimate. No, I've decided I'm too tired for all that business. So stop it. There's some problem about mobile phones. This will come as no surprise to you. It appears that analog seems to be better than digital, vis-a-vis getting through. You've only got to listen to any talkback program when people are on mobile. Suddenly you're chatting away to them, and then you ring back. I think it's the topography of Sydney that's a real problem. I think Adelaide's okay. It's just got one hill and all the people live in holes in the ground. But in Sydney, it's a real problem, isn't it? It really is. It's a real problem. I don't have a mobile phone. I think I did have one. I think it just went away. One day it just disappeared. So, the only solution, of course, is this one, is to have more towers up, I think. And, of course, you know, the local people who are bored to death, they listen to Graham and Sandra Ross on the weekends, and they do their gardening, you see, they do the weeding. They move the petunias just back, just there, dear, just over. Yes, that's right, just there, dear, thank you, right? And they mow the lawn, they do it with scissors, because they've got a lot of time to do that. They look up and say, oh, look at that, they're putting up a new wire. I think that's ruined our environment, dear, so they complain. I mean, you know, life... You know, when your body actually, you know, pumps blood through your body, these people haven't got it. They're just bored to death, so they have it out in society and say, oh, it pollutes the environment. I don't think a bit of grey cable, 75-ohm coax, is going to pollute anything. Yes. I'm not blaming Graham and Sandra Ross. I think it's what Graham and Sandra Ross and all the compost is keeping these poor, dreary people going. But, I mean, we've got enough cables there. We like electricity. It helps us. But these people, they're just so bored to death. Ah, look, it's polluting. If you didn't tell them they were there, of course, they wouldn't know. Their vision's only about 3 feet. But they do it, you see, and somehow they jump up and down. Unfortunately, I've got to say, we're at fault here. We actually talk to these people. There should be a filter on our phones, which means if your IQ's a bit low, you just don't get through, much like digital phones. But there you go. Yes, there'll be a lot of blanks on there. You're quite right, Ian. On this program, you never know the difference. Or, no, I know my IQ's far in excess of a digital phone. Here's a bloke, a born loser. Oh, I'm a born loser. Oh. In Oregon, a suspected drug buyer trying to reach his dealer via a pager dialed a very wrong number. He got the police. Remember, he's trying to buy drugs from his dealer. At first, I thought it was some of the county guys playing a joke, said narcotics detective Jim Porter. The caller identified himself as Wayne and said he needed a £1/4 pound of green marijuana buds. Porter, the detective, played along, arranged a meeting. When the detective met Wayne, he arrested him. Like a surprise for you? Oh, a pair of handcuffs. A new car. What are the odds he makes a mistake, punches in the wrong number, and out of 3,500 pages in Central Oregon, you'll get a narcs pager. That's narcotics. He said it's absolutely amazing. Yes.
The 2GB open line number has changed. To talk to Sydney's most entertaining radio personalities, simply press 9269
Still the old number.
If you'd like to comment on our changed open line number, please press 9269 We're talking Sydney. 2GB.
Oh, who put that together? No, the number hasn't changed. You can ring the old number, you still get through. Sorry. On the subject of getting through, that dear little Andrew Moore, who's not showered this morning, you can tell it was one of those, why didn't you wake me sort of mornings.
desk.
You know, Tom Cruise is apparently the reason they adopt kids, you know, he and Nicole. Why do you think that would be?
Well, one of them can't produce.
That's right. That's quite real. And that's no crime, is it?
No.
But a German company here that owns the magazine sued by actor Tom Cruise for 77 million Australian for calling him sterile, says Cruise's situation has been reported for years by others. It's quite strange, isn't it? I mean, why is that defamatory if it's true in this case? I'm sterile, you know that, don't you? I had the operation.
No, I didn't know that, but...
Why do you accuse me of it? Go on, say, am I sterile?
You're sterile, pal. Champion?
Oh, the champion saved it.
Yeah, that saved it. No, but I would have thought that it was quite obvious that one of them was.
Yeah, and it's not a crime, is it?
Not particularly, no.
No. Of course, they could have been referring to his acting, which would really get through, wouldn't it?
That's worth 77.
We weren't talking about your acting, so since you come to mention it, sweetie. Yeah. All right.
Oh, go jump on yourself.
Anyone with flag at knows you're not allowed to let the Australian flag.
Listen, did you feel the same way when Kieran Perkins draped it over him?
Oh, I thought he was a legend and a champ.
Hold on, because he's bloody white, that's why.
Exactly.
You're a racist twerp. Piss off.
Darren Hitch from 8:30 this morning.
We're talking Sydney, talking to GB.
Is Darren listening to Ita a lot? He actually, Fee-Fi-Fo Farm, which is Ita's postcode. He said, "Piff off." Is that sort of beginning to speak like Ita? Is that it? It's a sweet thing, isn't it? In an interview on ABC Television's Late Line program last night with Maxine McPooface, she tries to be crazy. It's just fatal speech patterns. I just want to sort of go, you remember at the start of Flying High? When the pilot bloke, the bloke's going to save the plane, is walking out, all the religious groups come up to him. Finally, he grabs the hair of one and goes, "Whoop!" That's exactly how I feel. No, I'm not into violence. I'm just saying how I feel, because you don't need them. It's just something I just say, "G'day, Maxine." But he didn't even look at the person, remember? Just grabbed the hair and went, "Whoop!" Sure, Maxine will be enjoyed to hear about that. It's just something very annoying about you, Maxine. There's a group of women that are annoying. What's her name? It does the news on SBS. Kathy Bell does the news on the ABC. I like the Indian lady, though, on the every time I say, "Oh, tell me the news." She never does it like that. What's the point of being Indian and not using that wonderful accent and moving ahead? Now, the news again. Oh, goodness me. And I imagine if she really was the Indian, a la the one we like, and she could say, 10 people drowned in Australia. There was not one Indian amongst them. We'd say, oh, that's fair enough. Not one Indian. Not a big deal. Anyway, in an interview, we've got lost here. Oh, that'll do. In an interview on the program with Maxine, what a woman. He says the fate of the $1 billion Natural Heritage Trust is more important. But Biological Diversity Advisory Council chair, a chair AAP. My word, a chair. Do you mean chairman by any chance, do you? AAP, why do you create this big brother business all the time? Why do you do that? You can tell people, they use the word chairman, you can tell people, and all this chairperson, all that, you don't have to do it, you know. It's not legal. It's not a law. Anyway, we're a bit off to one side here, aren't we? Have you noticed that? Just a sec. Just hold on, dear listener. I'm just going to do something here. Right, there we are. There you are. I fixed it. It's the, I've just fixed it. Robertson does it again. What a fella. What a fella. Anyway, the Biological Diversity Advisory Council Chairman, Roger Kitching, says the so-called $8 billion budget deficit pales into insignificance besides major environment threats. There you are. It's 25 minutes to 6. This gun debate has gone on for a great length of time. So it should have. What it's sort of highlighted, of course, the fact is the number of loonies, by the way they've gone on, who have guns, which has been totally encouraging for us to make sure that they don't have them. Of course, the loonies yesterday, you probably noticed, are suggesting, you bury your guns, mate, don't be pushed around. Why on earth someone in the metropolitan part of Sydney would require a double-action shotgun? Why don't they just cut the barrel off? They've got to store it in the drawer. That's an idea, isn't it? Cut the barrel off and just return the barrel. Oh, cutting it back, are you, sir? Yes, I am. That's right, sir. In the underwear drawer? No, my name's Darren. I don't have underwear. Now, you'd think in Tasmania it would have hit mostly. Children aged as young as 12 years could have access to guns after Tasmania's upper house voted to reduce the age for minors' permits. Do they read the newspapers down there? Are they aware of what happened? Legislative Councillor Stephen Wilson, whose electorate includes Port Arthur, says allowing only those aged 16 years or more to have the opportunity to shoot is anti-family. Of course, Mr. Wilson. Now of course, we've been... What is wrong with us? The amendment to the gun laws... I would have thought a gun was anti-family. The amendment to the gun laws was described by one legislative councillor as atrocious, yet it passed without a division being called. I just find that amazing. This is Tasmania. It's true what they say, isn't it? I think everyone there's called Stephen. Hey, Stephen, how's Stephen? Not bad, Stephen. How's your sister, Stephen? Good to see you, Stephen. My gosh, you're looking well, Stephen. Not as good as Stephen. How you going, Stephen? How are you? Bye, Stephen. What's my name, Stephen? Bye, Stephen. Oh, what can you say? The Australian National Audit Office has suggested the government reduce the $27 passenger movement charge paid by more than 13 million departing travellers last financial year. Oh, they're going to bring in the visa system, which is $60. That's a good idea. A passenger movement charge. Have you made a movement this morning? Yes, I have. That'll be $27, thank you. The passenger movement charge replaced the departure tax in a bid to recover the cost of customs, immigration and quarantine processing of visitors. But the audit officer found the charge raised $19.1 million more than needed. More than needed? Why tell us these things? A private security firm will reportedly operate New South Wales' first 24-hour closed-circuit video surveillance of public streets at Cabramatta in Sydney's southwest. They could put it up on the cable channel, wouldn't it? Cabramatta channel. What's a good number? 66. That'd be good, wouldn't you? Say, oh, what's his name? Oh, he's selling drugs. Oh, bastard! Just a sec, I'll ring him on the mobile phone. Hello there, it's Alan Fun here. You're on. Now, to your left, back. See there? Yeah, how you going? Want a videotape of it? The Sydney Morning Herald says the cameras will be used to detect heroin dealers and violent street gangs. What, he won't detect anything else? He just blanks, does it? It says the video surveillance, introduced by Fairfield Council at the request of local business people, will start on September the 15th. I'm not sure whether, in fact, you're allowed to actually do that. Is that legal, is it, Fairfield Council, is it? Well, I suppose you could talk to Fairfield Council about that. The Community and Public Sector Union has vowed to continue. Oh, we're back to the cliches again. Who's done it this morning at AFP? It's GR. Yes, they've vowed. What you do is you cut your little finger, they cut their finger, and the blood is shared in front of a little tomb at midnight under the full moon. It's a vow. It's a vow. And you mention strange mantras like Bill and Ben and weed. Bill and Ben and weed. It's a vow. I think what it is, they've actually decided to continue. Is that possible, AAP? The Community and Public Sector Union has decided to continue to pressure the federal government over cuts to the ABC budget. This follows a strong turnout at a public rally on Sydney's Domain yesterday. I mean, they wasted their time in a rally? Apparently the bananas in pyjamas were performing. Wouldn't that make you think, gee, the ABC is a vital part of our society? Now a bit of Feng Shui. Now, Feng Shui is... it's a thing for people with low IQs, let's be honest. You know, people who, they can only wash one armpit per day. You know, there's attention span's a problem. They eat food, you can tell, because they get about 20% in the mouth. The rest is down their front or on the table, or they flick it against the person sitting opposite. So Feng Shui is really, it's a problem. But they have a special service on Women's Day with someone called Selena Summers. Now, Selena Summers is an Anglican sort of person, but she's made up to look Asian, which is, when you think about it, there are so many Asians in Australia. Why they would do that rather than get a real Asian, just beyond my rhymes, haven't we? And Feng Shui, as I say, is for simpletons, for people who, aren't too bright up top. They think that where you put furniture in a room makes a difference to your lifestyle. Well, if you'd seen my place, if you see how neat my place is, you'll know none of this holds true. Apparently when I wrote in, they said, set fire to the place. We have one here from someone from Fanny Bay, Northern Territory. We must sell it. They send in little maps, by the way, to Serena Summers, and she gives them advice, you see. It says, we must sell our house, but no one seems interested, even though the price is reasonable. Can you see any feng shui problems with our plans? Right, so she looked at the plans here. Your major problem is the large tree directly opposite your front door. This is bad feng shui and causes many problems, including excessive yin energy entering your house. She could put baits down, I suppose. Remove the tree, and the energy around your house will feel quite different. Then expect a sale. I mean, oh, come on. What's a tree got to do with it? I suppose it's a good thing they're not living in a tree house. Oh, we removed tree. Now house not suitable. All on ground, all in pieces. Me not happy. Another one about our house. Our house faces a roundabout and a hotel. 2 years ago, a drunk driver hit a bedroom at the side of our house where my daughter sleeps. She wasn't home at the time, but the house now feels unlucky. Oh, nothing worse than an unlucky house, isn't it? Yeah. And consider moving house. In the meantime, your sketch shows rooms on the other side and back of the house to which all bedrooms could be moved. If you stay, change the colour of your house from white to cream, a colour with much better feng shui. Oh, golly, then you'll feel more positive about your house. Oh, Selena Summers, what do you use, a dart board and a dart with the lights off? Is that how you work out these answers? Golly, save me from that. And we still can't work out why someone changed the number of this building. It was 364 forever, then suddenly, one day, 368, I think it's never been 364. Yes, it has. Oh, not now, buddy. Is this better luck? No, I want to talk about luck. We like 368. I suppose it's a good thing you to make it 900. Not like 900. 901, okay, not 900. Thanks very much. It's 11 minutes past 8. So much for feng shui. Of course, we do have... By the way, we're trying to get hold of a... Who's the person who spoke with Ita? What was she called again? A psychic, was it? They won't talk to me. Now, why won't they talk to me? I mean, I just want to talk to a psychic to ask them what I did yesterday. It's just a reasonable thing, isn't it? But they won't talk because they think I might send them up. Correct! But you knew that, didn't you? You shouldn't act surprised. If there's a practicing psychic out there who'd like to chat to me sometime and justify psychiatry, please ring in sometime, would you, during the day, and we'll have intercourse.
It doesn't matter what I say, what I do, what I think. You can lead a horse to water, you can make him drink. You'll go your own sweet way. I say you go your own sweet way.
Is this song the equivalent of saying get stuffed, is it? I think it might be, you know, if you don't like it, you can actually go your own sweet way. What, do you mean get stuffed? Yeah. But we can't say things like that. It's 5:08, Thursday. Morning. 5:05. Look, I did the census form last night. It took 4 minutes. Where was the problem? I added a few things, really personal things. Yes, I thought, if, you know, we're going to talk about personal, let's go personal. I mean, what is Darren on about? Was there anything there infringing anything? I think the bit that Darren didn't like was, are you normal? That was the one he thought was an infringement. Oh, what do you mean normal? You bastards! Oh! Well, I mean, I put, are you normal? I said yes. I had no problem. You done yours yet? Have you, Ian? Have you? I mean, I didn't. You know, they had... for a while, it took me a while. I didn't have to fill it out each time for a while there. So I put women's names in, fantasised, you know, and all that business. So the suggestion there's a lot of women at my place. What are they going to say? They aren't. They're going to come around and say, where are the women now? Say, we had a fight. We had a fight. At an arts ground. Now... It does seem that many scientists are skeptical of one-time life on Mars. What a shame. Wouldn't you like to know about it? Little men, little green men. Wouldn't it be lovely? We'd shoot them, wouldn't we? Or give them AIDS or something. Oh, it's gone sick and fallen over. Hollywood glamour couple Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, aren't they annoying? Isn't there something really annoying about them? There's just something so squeaky clean, isn't there? Anyway, they have become real-life heroes, saving 5 people from a burning yacht off the Italian island of Capri. I wonder if the people are trying to get away from them. Hey, here comes Tom and Nicole. Hope you went overboard. Help, they're rescuing us. Cruz and Kidman were out having a cruise with their 2 children. Well, they're not really their 2 children. We know about that. In the area on their 25-metre yacht, Talita, which means unable to have babies in Thai, when they spotted the blaze. They darted to the rescue. How do you dart to the rescue on the sea? And the 5 occupants clambered onto the Talita moments before their own craft sank into the Mediterranean. Authorities on Capri say none of the 5, a Swiss couple, their son and 2 crew members, were injured. There's a bit of excitement for Tom Cruise. Nicole, isn't it? Perhaps they could adopt them. I think the last report is they've adopted these Swiss couple and the people. It's adopting everyone. So squeaky clean. Actually, I did interview her, and she was quite charming. But yeah, there's a certain sort of, well, perhaps they stand out as being sort of squeaky clean, and we're so sort of, we've got Madonna there, you know, the perpetual tart. I think really we sort of, when we see something that seems to be actually quite wholesome, we find it laughable. I think the Americans are good, aren't they? They're all just ready, waiting for a microphone or something. They really, of course, in Australia, if you want to see the typical Australian, listen to these sports inserts when they speak to some sporting person after a match. I'd like a collection of those. I'd like to put a CD out of them. You know, great statements from sportsmen. You know, blokes talking there about working on their percentage. I have no idea what that means. But I thought, that's a good idea. Someone's written something here. No, I'm sorry, I'm just reading here. She's not herself, isn't she sweet? She's such a little sweetie. We've got a number of blondes here, and they're all just a bit different, aren't they? You know, what they say about blondes, I think it's actually, probably in a few years they'll find that DNA-wise or whatever, genetically, there is a difference with blondes. She's sweetie. Oh, and so on. Oh, I see. Yes, and so on. Good. Your mother's blonde too, isn't she? Yes. It's different, isn't it? You know, she's sweet, isn't she? She never had a chance. And Anita's blonde too. He's a sweetie. And your friend is blonde, the one you go out, you know, around the hotels with during the week to get free drinks from men. Yes, men will pay for drinks. Well, what do men hope for love when they buy you drinks? What do you think it is, sweetie? Conversation? Right. I'm not going to touch that one. Here's a strange story just to start off the morning. A man, this is from the UK, a man told today of how a rare health condition made his skin turn so dark that Asian taxi drivers began speaking to him in their own language. Hello there, how long you been over here, honey? The father of two, Hilton Weir, Hilton Weir, the father, underwent the transformation after contracting Addison's disease, an unusual glandular condition leading to an hormonal imbalance. So he started off white, so he'd get into taxis. He'd be so black. Hey, man, how long you been here, honey? Not so funny, I suppose. The 48... If only... well, now, what happens if Michael Jackson gets this and goes black again? The 48-year-old salesman from Cramlington in Northumberland said he began 5 years ago with feelings of tiredness and mood swings, and then his skin started changing colour. He said friends started complimenting me on my suntan and asked me where I'd been on holiday. It was quite a gradual change, and at first I hardly noticed it. Then when I was on business in West Yorkshire, a group of Indian taxi drivers started talking to me, and I looked in complete bewilderment when I said I didn't understand what they were saying. Oh, my goodness, what a healthy dancer. After that, I was constantly mistaken for an Asian. A work friend who hadn't seen me for a while didn't even recognize me because my skin had turned so dark. Mr. Weir, whose face and neck became evenly dark with the rest of his body blotchy, was diagnosed as an Addison's disease victim at Newcastle Royal Victoria Infirmary. What a quaint title. The condition is fatal unless treated, and he is now almost back to his normal colour as a result of hormone replacements, which he must take for the rest of his life. I think he should have shaken hands with the ungloved hand of Michael Jackson, don't you think?
That's hi, folks. I'm back again, and I'm black again. Honey, now some tunes from the past, like Ben, the two of us.
Very strange, isn't it? I wonder if he knows some racism because of that. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Bit excited about the weekend, are you? Oh, you little sweetie. Kirsty's found a new man. Not the one we talked about yesterday. She found a new man. He was in the car next to her. Yeah. They talked about lowering the speed limit. Except for Asians, apparently. They don't have to allow it for Asians. They just simply say, keep driving at the speed you are driving. Oh, thank you very much, officer. You see, because to slow down, 50 kilometres per hour limit ahead, oh, I don't know. Does that mean they know most people drive at 70, so if they drop it to 50, they'll drive at 60? Is this it? This has been talked about a lot. I don't know. I mean, you're lucky to get to that speed a lot of the time. I would like them to enforce the keep left unless overtaking on the F3. It drives you crazy. I think people think that somewhere between Sydney and Newcastle they might have to overtake someone so they're going to be ready in the right-hand lane. I went up there the other day and it just drove me crazy. What are they waiting on? I don't know, and they're pretty dumb. And you can toot at them, I think, oh, ignore them, dear, ignore them, you know. Well, once a person I was driving behind was doing, I think, about 40 kilometres per hour. Finally, we pulled up somewhere. I said, what seems to be your problem? He said, I'm keeping safety. I'm keeping the road safe by doing 40. I said, oh, why don't you just park your car in the middle then? His wife said, drive on, dear. And he did. So I tipped him over the side. Just tipped him over the side there. You know what I feel about psychics, that they take advantage of people's simplicity. In Sofia, is that the way it's pronounced? Europe's most revered psychic, Granny Vanga, whose prophetic powers won her admirers around the world, died yesterday at 85. She was blind from childhood. She was venerated in Bulgaria as a living saint for her healing and clairvoyant powers. Well, a lot of living saints in the world, but I think we understand the problem here. She achieved fame by predicting World War XI and also foresaw it says 11 here, and also foresaw the invasion by Warsaw Pact troops of Czechoslovakia in 1968, but so a lot of other people did. You love this, though. Local media, quoting relatives, said she had predicted the time of her own death. Yeah, right. Well, I predict I will die or not. Now, that's got you confused, isn't it? I might not die, but I'll predict I'll either die or not. I've narrowed it down. What a load of compost. And the people say, see, there are unseen forces in us. We can do amazing things. Amazing. We're still trying to get a psychic on this program. What are they frightened of? What are you psychics frightened of? What, the fact that that you might have been misleading people, you know, with the best of intentions? Could that be it? You know, perhaps we never get the letters back in these magazines about the people you predicted for and saying correct or not. Wouldn't that be fair? I mean, any other thing requires some test, doesn't it? Consumer affairs requires some test. If I say this thing rids the world of flies and it doesn't, people tell me, why don't you people submit yourself to consumer affairs? And we'll have case histories of people. And they'll say, no, it didn't happen. Wouldn't that be fair? Wouldn't that be honest? No? Oh, I understand. Okay. I think most people like to feel there are aliens around. Indeed, I've worked with a few people who are alien, but that's different. Night of has come through, which will upset a lot of people. It'll keep the nighttime show going here on this very station. People who believe they have been kidnapped by aliens have simply been dreaming, a leading researcher into the paranormal said today. However real the experience might have seemed at the time, and it may involve space travel or sexual encounters with the extraterrestrials. Bring another terrestrial. You want an extraterrestrial? Yes. It's most likely to be caused by borderline sleep, you see. He's from the University of the West of England. He's identified sleep paralysis as the likely culprit for most alien kidnap experiences. Although only a few people report alien encounters, she has found that sleep paralysis is a common, if unnerving, experience shared by up to 3 out of 10 people, 30%. In the near-sleep state, the dreamer slips consciously into paralysis because something has gone wrong with the normal sleep process, possibly due to exhaustion, excitement, or worry. The dreamer hears strange whining or roaring noises, sees flashing lights or stars or MGs on fire, and senses shaking or shuddering. Some feel have been turned into their beds, while others report sexual encounters. There you are. So I'm sorry about that, but I suppose it's just as real. It's just that you shouldn't bring up Brian bullshit, say you've had it. All right, enough of that. Now down to the reality of sport. Hello, did you see the thing yesterday, did you?
Lucy Tyler Sharman was given the flick from the 3K team, and
Charlie Watts just seems to think if there wasn't that drama surrounding the team, and Kathy Watt was part of the team itself, that they could have come away with a few gold medals.
But if we're going to if she won, we wouldn't be talking about it. So once you start iffing, you can if forever, can't you?
Oh, yes, but we don't need to if because she didn't win.
But you are iffing.
No,
But Charlie's iffing. You just gave a couple of ifs.
Oh, well, Charlie is iffing.
Yeah.
But you just said if Kathy Watt won.
You're not iffing. He's
Yeah,
iffing.
Charlie's an iffer.
Okay, you're not
I've
an
got
iffer.
no if.
Okay, right.
And that's it.
Is it?
That's the latest in sports, Bob.
Right, that'll be more from the fabulous and perfectly informed Andrew Moore, who's Anzac Parade ready. Whatever you like. I think at this hour we're going to look at again at the singles conference, which is over in San Francisco, about how to make yourself attractive to the opposite sex. Women don't have to do much. They just have to be young and gorgeous. After that, it's a real battle. And men, what have they got to offer? Just their money. So I think really having a large wallet is my theory has been in the past. If you want to attract women, you put your wallet down the front of your trousers, and that attracts women. Hi there. The budget, I missed the budget yesterday. What a shame. Oh, what a shame. The federal government's received an international stamp of approval. What, a little smiling face on its book? Here you are, and one on the back of your wrist, Mr. Howard. Oh, boy. Oh, a new term has come out now. A new term is vis-a-vis, governments and what have you. Treasurer Peter Costello last night reaffirmed the federal government would only seek to return the Commonwealth budget position to a structural balance. Do you know what that means? What's a structural balance? It'll be used by everyone now. Journalists will, sheep-like, asked at a dinner in Sydney about the prospect for a change in strategy to deliver a structural surplus. Yeah, structural surplus, we'll use that as well. Mr. Costello said, a balance over the economic cycle is about right. Isn't that comforting to know all that? Do we know anything? No. Is there something wrong with the journalists of Australia now that we don't know any more what's happening? I mean, I just can't understand that. I mean, I don't want to go through all this so that we end up not knowing anything. What's the point? I mean, I'm not a tool. I did make some facetious remark a couple of weeks ago about when it was the Olympics, before the dreary Olympics were on in Atlanta, suggesting in the light of so many people being caught for drugs, that is playing with it and lying about it, of course. I mean, once you start to be deceitful, you're going to lie, aren't you? And I said, why don't we just have the all-out drug Olympics? Simply have the drug, anything goes, and you can have the particular drug you're taking on a T-shirt. I mean, why not? I'm not being silly. Why not? Well, I want to tell you, a leading South African sports scientist said drugs in sport should be legalised to end a continuing speculation over the practice of athletes. Dr. John Hawley from the South African Sports Science Institute, South African, says it's no longer possible to tell who's clean. He's with me, this man, you see? Hawley said there's no question that drugs are a big part of the superior performances and believes in the strength and power events as many as 50% of competitors, 50% at the Olympics use performance-enhancing drugs. He says the only way to recreate a level playing field, there's a nice cliche, is to consider legalising the use of steroids and other enhancers. There you are, he's with me, isn't he? And he's a doctor. He did the 3-week course. Why not? Let them go all out and have drugs. Yes, let them die in their little gyms. If they want to be that stupid to take drugs, good grief. And when they die, should they die with their pets? Oh, you're sighing, aren't you? There's your cat on your bed there, giving you asthma, hair up your nose, carrying all the diseases of society, and you wonder why you're sick all the time. There's your cat on the doona there saying, I'll get you for this. If you wish to ring this morning, you can do so. But in fact, I welcome your call, even if you are a bit weird. 131873. You might be the black sheep of the family. You might like to ring up and go, bah, on the phone. It's 10:30, almost 11 past 5. Yes, there you go. It's good here, isn't it? Good here. It is good. Good here. Why would he nick that machine? Did he think I wouldn't notice? Suppose last night he thought, I better put it back. Oh, they won't notice, is what he thought. Yeah. Yeah, he's a loony, you know. When he was here before, he was a loony. He's still a loony. They said he's coming back. I said he's a loony. But, I mean, if you shout out, hello, loonies in the corridor, everyone pops out of their office. Yes? Bring back Chelmsford. It's 11 and a half minutes past 5. The US, another 4 declared... Did our news leave this with this today? I listened overnight. I listened to the news at 2 and 3 and 4, and they didn't go with this. And I thought, oh, come on, Milan, get your act together, son. The US and the other 4 declared nuclear powers have signed a landmark global treaty banning nuclear tests. What, they finished testing on their own, have they? With President Bill Clinton, the first to put his signature on the pact. Secretary General Boutros Ghali, in opening the treaty for signing, said they were privileged to witness a turning point in the history of efforts towards nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Well, there's only about 100,000 warheads to go, is it? Oh, that's okay. Well, there's one. There will still be war. He says the treaty will make the world safer and more secure for future generations. Rubbish. Rubbish, Mr. Boutros Ghali. Rubbish, madam. Australia was among the early signers, represented by Foreign Minister Alexander Downer, and he does look foreign. I saw a picture on the page the other day. It was in actually a foreign magazine. I said, golly, he looks foreign. So he's got the job as the foreign minister. They had them all lined up, and they said, all of you do a gurney. They said, Mr. Downer, that's a terrific gurney. He said, I wasn't gurneying. They said, you've got the job. He does look a bit foreign. US President Bill Clinton's appeal to the world community to join in exhibiting zero tolerance to isolate countries that support terrorism and drug trafficking. Is he talking about the United States as well? They have terrorists and drug traffickers there. What world does he live in? Is it near mine? I wonder if he's got my DAT recorder. I bet you if you see the next press conference, there in the background, with 2 security men, will be our DAT recorder there. I think this is going to be the key. Addressing the General Assembly, Mr. Clinton says the world body, that's Elmer Ferguson, to maintain international sanctions against rogue states like Iran, Libya, Iraq, and the United States. I threw that in just to make it seem more equitable. He says the international message to drug traffickers and terrorists should be, you have no place to run, you have no place to hide. That's a song, isn't it? What was the song? Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It's been used a few times, hasn't it? Yeah, that's right, yeah. Like the person who stole our DAT machine. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Yeah. We'll get the DAT police. Yeah, you're in real trouble, fella. You're in real trouble. You made a career decision, son. You're going back to FM. You on the local community stations. You're in real trouble. If you're really naughty, go back to Triple M, where they're all trying to be so blokey. It's all sort of, let's not be announcers. Just really be just one of you, eh? 14 past 5. It's one of those days, isn't it? Yes, it is. Does it show, does it? I could start again, but I won't. Dry, mild and mostly sunny day today. It will be dry. This is the same as yesterday. 22 for Sydney, Liverpool 23, Richmond 24. In brief, it'll be Ballyhoy. Light to moderate southwest winds tending south-east to easterly during the day. There's a shower possibility tomorrow. I want it to rain. This is weird. I had a blocked drain, not personally, although I sound a bit like it today. Had a blocked drain, so I got up on my ladder. My ladder just reached the gutter, and I put a little chock underneath, a little chocky, and went up, and the ladder was swaying. I thought, oh, I'll be okay, step by step. Took the hose up there, turned the hose on, but have a little, you know, you turn the thing on the end, it stops it. Went up there, clean. What they don't tell you about that leaf guard thing, that sort of thing, that plastic stuff, is if you don't clean it out, the leaves finally disintegrate and fall through and fill up your gutter. So you end up with a gutter which is only about, you know, a few millimetres deep. So scoop, whatever. I poked the hose down there, and there was a leaf caught in there, so it's all clear. It has not rained since. So every time I look to think it'll rain, so I want to go and stand by my gutter and watch it not overflowing. So it's my fault entirely. This actually is worse than washing your car. This is the opposite of washing. You wash your car, as you know, it rains, right? This is the opposite. This is how you stop it raining, by cleaning out the gutter. Rain, so it's my fault, to which I profusely apologise. What am I meant to do, though? Fill it up? Perhaps if I can fill it up with leaves, it'll rain. It's interesting, isn't it? Neighbours noticed Mr. Robertson, the side of his house, with bags of leaves filling it in the rain. They can't work out why, but his listeners know. There you go. It's 16 past 5. There you go. How's it all going at your place? Do you hate the person you're married to? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? They've got to move and what have you, and then you've got, you know, your bank account in joint names, and yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Wouldn't you like to just wind the clock back, just like that, bling, back to when you were single, before you met him or her? Interesting, isn't it? Suddenly you wake up, there you are, married to someone, possibly with some kids, in a house that you don't really like, in a suburb you don't like, and what happened? It just suddenly happened. Life's interesting that way, isn't it? You could be helping me put leaves in my gutter, you know, if you played your cards right. 17 past. Can I do this now, can I? Well, theologically, Bill Cruz and I don't agree. I met him in the foyer, Reverend Bill Cruz. I don't think he reads his Bible anymore. That seems to be his problem. I said, do you talk about Satan? Oh, no, we don't mention Satan in our church because it upsets people. I said, you thought of reading the Bible, Mr. Cruz. Anyway, I have a real objection to you, Mr. Cruz, if you don't follow the truth. I really do. You're wasting everyone's time, including your own. It doesn't matter about all your good works. You know very well if you deviate from the truth, you're wasting your time. In fact, you're anti-God. Good to know who the enemy is, isn't it? Well, grand final day this Sunday is going to be a big day for the Reverend Bill Cruz and his hard-working team from the Exodus Foundation. Perhaps he's going to leave, hence the word Exodus. Wouldn't that be a step forward, Mr. Cruz? Then again, I could send you a Bible and you could read it sometime. Have I established where I am with this man? How about I go right? From 10:30 a.m., the doors of the Uniting Church in Liverpool Road at Asheville will open for the special grand final day free meal for homeless and destitute people. Remember, they won't be offended because Satan will not be mentioned. It's a new Bill Cruz Bible interpretation service. Western Suburbs Rugby League Club is providing the sausages for the big sausage sizzle. I like sausages. I like them. They tend to burn, though, don't they, when they're barbecue? Do I assume a sausage sizzle is actually a barbecue? We used to say barbecue, now it's a sausage sizzle, is that right? I bet you he's got my dat machine. Just occurred to me. The Buttercup people will supply the bread rolls, and Harvey Dorman and his electricals are providing a big screen so that everyone can watch the boring grand final match between it's Manly and St George. I didn't know that. Are they playing? That's this Sunday for the special free, Satan-free meal for homeless and destitute people who don't want to know the truth at the Uniting Church in Ashfield. Children are also welcome. Bring your own Bibles and read it to Mr. Cruz so he can be converted. Still, it'll be nice for some people. Although I don't know why I'm promoting... Is it Rugby League or AFL? Which is it? AF League. Super League. Tennis. It's something, isn't it? They sweat and what have you. Right. 20 and a half minutes past 5. So that's the United Church in Ashfield. Children are welcome. Satan isn't. If you're satanic at all, please don't turn up because they don't mention that there. Oh, Mr. Cruz, oh, come on. That's the Exodus Foundation. What do I mean by Exodus? It's going out, isn't it? What Mr. Cruz needs is the Revelation Foundation, but that, as they say, is another story. That might be quite nice. Are you going to go along, are you? They mention the word free here. You look destitute, don't you, Glenn? Wouldn't have to just wear what you're wearing. You want to play something, are you? You don't know. 22 and a half minutes past 5. Of course, I've got to say it's possible that Reverend Bill Cruz has actually read the Bible since I last spoke to him, so it might be okay. There's always the proviso. Let me not judge the man if he's actually seen the light. If you see a light over Uniting Church in Ashfield, it could well be coming heavenward towards Cruz. But I wonder if he's got my dat machine. I wonder if he has. Yes. How you going? Everything all right at your house, is it? It's one of those days here. Controversial British historian David Irving says he's 100% confident of returning to Australia after Prime Minister John Howard defended the right of free speech. I'm sure Darren will be talking to him very soon. You reckon? Probably this morning. I'll speak to him. He'll come here. Mr. Irving plans to reapply for a visa card to visit Australia after Mr. Howard said last weekend his government could take credit for lifting censorship on the expression of politically incorrect views. Mr. Irving, who has questioned Adolf Hitler's involvement in the slaughter of millions of Jews in the Holocaust. Oh, another loony, is he? He's questioned that, has he? Oh, yes. That's right, yes. Of course, there were no witnesses, Mr. Irving. What planet are you on? Have you got my dat machine, have you, Mr. Irving? Says he's received legal advice that he can now enter Australia. You can book out any time you like, but you can never leave. After being barred twice by the former Keating government. You really do question whether Mr. Hitler was involved, do you, Mr. Irving? Who do you think did it then? Eva Braun? Hundreds of mourners have gathered to pay their final respects to Bryan Haglund, the British tourist killed as he walked with his girlfriend at Sydney's Bondi Beach. The Tasmanian Greens will today call on the federal government to ensure an Australian opens the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games. I think Ron should do it. Ron would be ideal. Rather than Queen Elizabeth, who's British. Oh, silly Greens. If only these people do something useful there. I wonder actually, the Tasmanian Greens, they did ask if we had a DAT machine, didn't they? They sent us a fax about 3 months ago. There was a PS on the bottom of their fax. They said, do you have a DAT machine? I see. This plot is getting very, very thick, isn't it? By the way, you can ring this morning on 131873. I just mentioned that. If you feel like ringing this morning, I'll talk to you. That's the arrangement, right? You got to make sense. Perhaps you could woo me to some different way of thinking. You're probably saying, the bloke's a dill. Well, if you know the truth and I don't, ring up and correct me. Let me not waste anyone's time. And by the way, if you've seen our grey DAT machine, you don't have to mention names. Just ring me up and let me know, would you? Thanks very much. The federal government has ruled out offering the states more funding to implement the national gun laws, despite pressure from the New South Wales and Queensland governments. I thought that was all covered, the amount and what have you. I thought so. The community and public sector unions hailed a federal government agreement to change the so-called Dole Diary scheme as a victory for the unemployed. The head of Australia's Armed Forces, General John Baker, will meet China's Defence Minister Qi Hotian in Beijing today with guns at 10 paces. Anytime you're ready, buddy. The International Olympic Committee's Coordination Commission wraps up its check on Sydney's Olympic progress today. Won't they mind their own business? Who cares? Who are they when they're at home? The new governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia, Ian Macfarlane, I believe, is into DAT recording. This is just amazing. Apparently, his preferred medium at home is not cassette, it's DAT. If you go to his place for dinner, they say, gee, that quality's amazing, mate. For cassette, they say, no, actually, it's from DAT. They say, fabulous. Anyway, he'll today make his first official public appearance since he took over the post last week. Police have charged 3 youths with a total of 29 counts of armed robbery after a spate of alleged hold-ups at Knife Point on Melbourne's rail system in 2 days. Interesting thing is, they have been not stealing people's Walkmans, but their portable DAT machines. There's been a whole spate of that, really. A military board of inquiry has acknowledged the heroism of soldiers who braved fire and exploding ammunition to rescue survivors of a collision between 2 Black Hawk helicopters. You might remember that. And it's 27 minutes past 5. A bit of weather here. Did I mention the DAT machine was missing? I might mention that in the next half hour. I mentioned Bill Cruz doesn't believe... I mentioned that, right. This is my clean-up campaign, isn't it? Getting rid of all that. Looks very vacant there. The sign is there. I mean, where it is there, but all the leads are out. Golly, someone's going to die today. Very dull day today. It really is. Very, very dull. I had a sleep yesterday afternoon. I don't often do that. The sooky women do. Women are like this. They're always sleeping like cats. Cute as cats, too. And I had about 2 o'clock, and I was sort of thinking, if you leave it too late, you ruin your evening sleep. It's a real game of chance. So I put a DAT tape on. Oh, what a coincidence. On my machine, the one that hasn't been nicked. And I fell asleep, woke at 4:30, and I thought, it's 4:30, it's light, no one's roaming. The bastards! I've slept in. Then I realised it was the afternoon. But you do get a shock for a moment there, don't you? I mean, it really is weird, isn't it? There's something weird about afternoon sleeping. Your heart says, you should be at work. There you are. I just thought I'd share that with you. What a gorgeous day it was yesterday. I thought I'd slow down, so I drove behind an Asian on the way home yesterday. It's just lovely. I don't know what it is. They get to about... You can see them. There's this curve in the road. It would be a gentle curve. I mean, there's no way, unless you're doing about 300 kilometres per hour, would you be in danger of tipping over. But the brake lights go on. So that's good. The brake lights are working. So I stayed behind them. It was nice. Took an extra half hour to get home. And I don't know what it is about them. This is not anti-them. I just want to know why. Then I'll just shut up. But no one will tell me. Anyway, they're driving along there, you see, and it says, it's a 60 zone, so they're doing 48, right? Then it goes to a 70 zone. They do 58. Then it goes to an 80 zone, and they stay on 58. And I'm thinking, well, perhaps they live longer than we do. There's no hurry for them, you see. They've got a week to do something. Anyway, it was a nice, relaxed drive home, and I got home about 2. It was an extra couple of hours, but it was enjoyable. I put the DAT tape on. And I did some dubbing of what have you to bring in to play some stuff to you this morning. And the DAT machine's gone. I didn't mention that. Not very depressing, isn't it? Anyway, it was a nice drive home. And they have a very relaxed lifestyle. And I applaud that. I applaud it. Here's a wonderful story. Animals are funny things, aren't they? They're just funny. A racing pigeon, given up for lost, has finally made it home. The disoriented 2-year-old went roaming instead of homing. Bit of journalistic joy there. During a race in July from Thurso, which is in North Scotland, back to its loft at Resolven near Neath in South Wales. It was meant to go there, right. Owner Robert Jones, I suppose he's Welsh, you see. Hello, Robert Jones here, I'm sorry. He's bought a new DAT machine. I come straight from Australia, you see. Robert Jones was surprised to get a letter a month later from a Norwegian enthusiast, Jan Alversen, who told him he was looking after the bird, which had turned up exhausted after crossing the North Sea to Kresvik. What a funny little bird. Jones, a 47-year-old Neath College lecturer, wrote back to thank him. In fact, he could have sent him a little message on a DAT tape. Sometimes that personal aspect is very good. And there's no azimuth trouble. One DAT machine's very much like another one. Wrote back to thank him, suggesting he keep the pigeon because it was too far for her to fly back. Not very sentimental, is he? I suppose he's lucky his wife didn't fly over there. You might as well keep her. Why don't you keep her? She's not bad, you know. But the bird, now nicknamed Viking Queen, it's got sexual problems as well, has it? Well, I'm looking for an arts grant. Yes, you are, you funny little bird. Had other ideas. He became so restless and homesick after a month's recuperation that its Norwegian host decided to free it. It was restless. And let's face it, a restless pigeon is not easy to live with, is it? Pacing up and down on your bed, not being able to think. Robert, who has bred and raced pigeons for 30 years, what a boring life that must be, believes Viking Queen continued her flight of fancy by crossing the North Sea again and on to Wales. It came back. Probably by way of Denmark and Holland. Probably stayed at a few pubs, met a few chicks along the way. Go died. There you go. Pigeons don't like flying over water. Everyone knows that. And I can only assume she's taken the long way home as much over land as possible. We were astonished when she appeared out of the blue. It's quite an amazing feat. Something like a pigeon completing a Grand National course. Well, that wouldn't be very far, would it? Grand National would be far less than 2 there. What a fool. It seems Viking Queen was causing such a fuss in Norway that Jan thought it kinder to let her go when the weather conditions were favourable. I've written again telling him she made it home on her own. What a weird little bird, eh? Sort of ones I went over the years. My other pigeons here treated her like a stranger and have not exactly made her feel very welcome, but she's gradually settling in again after her long absence. Now Jones plans to enter Viking Queen for a top race from Louwick next season. Even if she goes off the course again, her ability to get home is beyond question, he said. You want to tie a very large elastic band to it, so it keeps flying and flying, and then suddenly, bing, comes home and overshoots, and then bing, it goes back and then hits a tree. And there's no more bird laugh. Yeah, there you go. What a pity he didn't use his pigeon for good rather than evil. What a funny little thing. How'd you like to cut your arm off with a chainsaw? Is that the sort of fantasy you have? Police say sculptor Adrian van der Lucht had his left arm almost severed in a chainsaw accident at his Whitsunday studio on the central Queensland coast yesterday. They say the 52-year-old artist was sculpting a large piece of wood when the chainsaw kicked back. Never used a chainsaw. Oh, that's going to affect his ability, isn't it? Yes. Apparently he's got a large work, you might have seen it, made out of wood, which is on public display in the foyer of the Cultural Hall in Proserpine. You know what it is? It's a huge DAT machine made out of wood. It just looks amazing. You'd almost want to go and put a DAT in it, except it's a larger-than-life one. It's just fabulous. It's just really terrific. It's just a coincidence, because our DAT machine has been knocked off by a temporary staff member here. And it's funny, he didn't know he was temporary yesterday when he knocked it off. And today, his job could well be gone. He'd have to go and work for, if he's really naughty, for Triple J. Pretty cruel? Pretty cruel. There's ads on the back of taxis. The Department of Transport seeks to restrict advertising structures to moulded fittings that are attached to the boot. I wonder whether, in fact, they can look out the rear vision mirror. Have you noticed, by the way, that taxi drivers, even if they see a vacant spot to pull up, they won't. And as soon as they hit their brake lights, all their emergency lights come on. Have you noticed that? Something very weird about them, isn't it? They can see a spot to pull in, but, oh, no, they just pull up anywhere at all. Really gets to you, doesn't it? Really does. Really does. Mate, got to make a living. Yes, you have, haven't you? Do you have to break the rules all the time? Can't you use your brain? No, not as such. I'm actually a legal immigrant. Oh, it's okay then. It's 18 to 6. The number here is 131873. You can ring at any stage at all about anything. You perhaps have not rung before and thought, I've not rung before. And I know you'd think that. You can ring in. Here is Felix. Hello, Felix. Hello.
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 Ah, you're talking to me.
What the thing was, I said, hello, Felix, you see. I thought that'd be a dead giveaway.
No, you said that before. I said, I like the story of the little bird, but you shouldn't tell people early in the morning about this chainsaw. You know, I got goose pimple all over the place. The chainsaw...
All over the place?
Yeah, well, I feel it from my belt to my shoulder.
Yeah, but Felix, well, when is a good time to tell someone about someone who's lost their arm with a chainsaw? You think about what, during Ron Casey's program? Perhaps during Darren's program?
Nobody...
No, just give me a time. I'll just make a note here. When's good? Felix's little list of when to tell about bad news, all right? Lost arms, what time? Felix's lost arms thing. What time of the day would be a good time to mention?
Well, not before breakfast.
Okay, so what time would you have breakfast?
You can say, nobody, like, I got feelings. Somebody maybe they don't have feelings or they don't feel anything.
Don't have feelings. Now, when do you have breakfast, Felix?
Oh, when my wife wakes up. See, I don't know.
Oh, you make the breakfast for her. Aren't you a nice Felix?
No, sorry. When she wakes up, she make the breakfast.
Oh, I see. I walked into that one, didn't I? Well, what time do you wake her up for breakfast?
Well, the first time today, I get up early. Usually I don't get up so early, see?
Yes.
But last night, I went to sleep early because I want to see this witness on TV that I never watched before. Because they were saying that people can live up to 180.
You would want to do that, would you, Felix? Look at you now.
Oh, no, I have to live more than that.
You want to live more than 180?
Well, I got so many things to do.
Like what? Make breakfast for your wife, that's one, okay. What else?
I'm doing big things.
Like what?
Well,
come on.
If I tell you what, you might say, good night, Phyllis, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, well, I could do that.
Because, you know...
This is a risk you've got to take.
It is big things. We say, just for instance, I'll tell you what happened to me. Yesterday, I was the happiest days in my life.
You were a Felix yesterday?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Because I've been preaching to turn the manure from the sewer, you know, turn sewer into manure for years.
Great hobby.
I beg your pardon?
I can see why you don't make breakfast for your wife now. She'd rather do it herself.
Maybe. But look, you see, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, there was on the newspaper, please help us, tell us what can we do with the sewer. And
yeah.
I wrote them a beautiful letter
yes.
to turn into manure because...
So what do? You go to the toilet, then you rush around and catch it, do you?
No, they do it somewhere. What? You just go to the toilet, oh, no, well, don't worry, I don't catch it, but I got the pipe going into my backyard.
I see, right.
I had that for years because, see, I got a garden,
yeah.
I grow tomato and all these things.
Yeah,
but they didn't know what to do with the sewer. So now I saw in the news that in Cronulla, see, I live around here,
yes.
they spending over $100 million to turn sewer into manure. And that made...
And then what do you do with that?
Yeah, not that I mentioned today. I mean...
Yeah, but what do you do with the manure once you've turned it sewer into manure? What do you do with the manure?
Most of it you can make big money. You sell it to our neighbor's country. We can use it too. But if you got too much, we can sell it.
Yeah, but what do we use it for?
No. Do you use it? When you make your bed,
Your bed?
Yeah, you leave, the bed. You put under the bed so the bed in the garden.
Oh, thank goodness. I was a bit worried for your wife there.
Who?
Thought we'd have to trace the call here for a moment. Oh, you mean for vegetables?
Yeah.
That's a good selling point when people come around and say, my gosh, these tomatoes, there's a certain sense of deja vu about these tomatoes. You say, yes. Yes, there is.
Mr. Robertson.
Yes, Mr. Felix.
Without any offense, you maybe have to learn a lot of things.
I know.
You don't use human manure for tomato. You only use it for dessert.
Yes.
Like a strawberry. Because that's very... Anyway, you can use it. If you got plenty, of course you can use it under the tomato.
Yeah, right.
Have you got your own garden?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Well, the bank lets me play with it. The bank lets me play with the garden.
Look,
as I keep the payments up.
It's spring now, and the moon just turned over, so you can't plant anything because we have a full moon. We had to...
No, don't be silly, Felix.
Oh, no, I got to be a quarter of a monk.
No. No, that's weird.
Yeah.
You don't know Bill Cruz, do you?
Who, Bill?
Bill Cruz. So what's this other weird thing that you do that you can't mention? This is pretty weird, and I'm glad you mentioned it, although I think really you should have rung Brian Wilshire about that. He'd probably have great ideas to do with X-Ways thing. What other things do you do that you can't tell me about?
Oh, no, I can tell you.
You said before you couldn't.
Yeah, well, you see, what happened to me now?
I don't know.
No.
Could be genetic, I don't know.
I was talking about this, yeah.
That.
I got up early this morning because I went to sleep early last night.
Ah.
I see, after 9:30,
yes,
when I saw that, which I did...
Oh, what was on Witness? That's right. What was on Witness? That was what we were talking about.
Weird, yeah.
I don't watch Witness. What was it about?
No, there are these people in America that they study or something to try to live longer.
Oh, that's right. Yes, longevity. That's right.
Yeah.
What if you're senile, though, after about 100 and you sit round in a wheelchair and Witness comes and interview and you just blow bubbles into the camera? Would you like that, would you, Felix? I mean, you see, you won't have everything. You realise you might be incontinent.
But they reckon...
in Australia.
Yeah, they reckon that after 100, 150, you can still be a 50-year-old. Because you had to they was showing some tablets and some stuff.
Felix, you don't believe all that, do you?
I don't believe them. But I believe me.
Yeah, well, that's important.
Because I found this in reading books. I found that in Russia they live over 150.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about it?
Well, you have to take the good food, the natural.
Oh, back to that again.
Yeah, and don't eat things like McDonald's or fish and chips or meat pie. You know, you eat what...
Strawberries.
What the elephants, they live 500 years.
What sort of life do they have, though?
Well, who knows? Maybe in
I mean, how many elephants have made it to the top of a company in Australia?
I don't know if they live that far in Australia, but in Africa they used to see...
But it's no life for them. I mean, you see, we're talking about quality of life here, Felix.
No, but for an elephant... Look, Mr. Robertson, as I said, if I go to what I want to say...
Yes.
You live happy. Not in Sydney. Don't worry about Sydney, see?
No.
But, see, that's what I thought. You maybe think I'm mad. See, I was talking...
I don't think you're mad, Felix. I think you're very outspoken.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to my... Look, I tell you, I never poured so many tears as I did for John Pierce. Not even with my father.
Oh, he's a lovely man, Mr. Pierce.
I was talking to him about these things, eh?
Yes, he's a lovely man.
Yeah. Anyway, he's gone.
You might see him again one day, Felix.
I still believe he's still there in the office.
Is he? Yeah.
Anyway, I always said, see, I want to turn the Simpson Desert into a Simpson Lake and give Australia water.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you, Felix. Felix, we're running out of time here. I'm wondering, could you go and wash your hands really thoroughly and make breakfast for your wife this morning?
After? She
No. You wash your hands very thoroughly. I mean, really, like as though you're going to be a surgeon, and go make breakfast for your dear wife. A little present for her.
Yeah, but I consider you brushing me off. Can I start to talk about what I was talking about? Only take half a minute?
What do you mean we haven't spoken about what you want to speak about yet?
No, see, the Virgin Mary, you told me the other day you don't believe in the appearances.
Oh, no, it's a load of rubbish.
You don't...
No, it's just silly. Well, anyway, it doesn't mean anything if you do see her anyway. It's got nothing to do with faith. This is becoming idolatrous. Do you like that word, Felix? Idolatrous.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't believe in the Virgin Mary appearance too, because I
agree then.
I see one day this 88-year-old my neighbor ran there and see I got a long block here because I live on 2 blocks and it's a bush. Okay. She ran there the bush, she showed me a picture. I said, look at this, see, I got the Virgin Mary here. It appeared in Australia somewhere fair. And I look at her, I said, look, mate. I call her mate, she's madame.
You call her mate, that's nice.
I said, she got a little baby in the hand. Yeah, that's right, that's her. I said, this baby was born 2,000 years ago.
Was it?
And say, how you come and show me on the picture between the tree there and stairs, and we're not far away from here, or a couple hundred kilometers. She's there with the baby. Didn't the baby grow up?
Yeah.
Say, look, just think properly. Don't give me this appearance.
Yeah.
But I believe in our Virgin Mary, which is Pauline Hansen. I think she's...
I don't think she's a virgin, Felix. I don't want to upset you here.
Yeah.
I think she's done it.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Felix. Good to hear from you. Thank you, Felix. Felix watches Witness, and that's what happens to you. It's 8 to 6. Taxi drivers are pretty weird, aren't they? They really are. They really are. I think we should give a taxi driver a deodorant day. Don't you think it'd be a nice thing? Here's a deodorant for you. What do you say? Here is a deodorant for you. Would you wear it? Oh, I don't understand. Yes, you little illegal immigrant, have this and you'll make life a lot easier for your customers. Oh, okay. And declare your tips on your tax return. No, I understand. You want to go to Sydney Airport? No, don't try that with me, my little friend. It's 5.5 minutes to 6. Some radio stations have been sold. Do you realise that? It's all being sold here. I've just got a list of them here. Not this one, by the way. Not this one. Britain's Daily Mail and General Trust PLC is positioned for further expansion. I love to be. Wouldn't you like to be positioned for further expansion? It's like somebody just given up a diet. I'm positioned for further expansion. In the Australian radio market, with its Australian unit acquiring Broadcast Media, the owner of 12 regional stations. What if they've got my DAT recorder? Good point. DMG and Radio Australia Chief Executive Officer Paul Thompson says DMG is actively looking for further investments in Australia's radio industry. He won't give a figure as to how much was paid for Broadcast Media, but says it was substantial. The radio stations taken over by DMG, this is the British mob, include 2CS, that is some AM and FM stations, right? 2CS and AM station at Coffs Harbour, 2GZ Orange, that's AM and FM, oh, what a shame. 2LF AM, based at Young, 2WG AM and FM at Wodja Wodja, 2RG AM at Griffith, 3BO FM at Bendigo, that's the taxi network, radio station. 3CV AM, also at Bendigo, 3MA at Mildura, AM and FM, and 5SE AM at Mount Gambier. Mont Gambier, as they call it in South Australia. There you are. And some of those stations actually use DAT, by the way. Digital audio tape. It's 4 minutes to 6. Kirsty, could you ring that technical person again to see perhaps he might have woken now to find out why he stole the DAT machine, please? Probably hide it out to someone if you would. I really appreciate that. It'd be really very helpful. On the subject of help, ladies, there are still some ladies who deny they have PMT, right? That's premenstrual tension or stress. I have lived with women who've had it, and it is very difficult. Now, I'd much rather a woman recognise it and say, I'm going through that, I need some TLC or something. Then you'd say, OK, right, let me go make breakfast for you. I'll just go and wash my hands for a week. Apparently exercise seems to help most things, doesn't it? Exercise might be the key in helping millions of women with the pain and illness associated with premenstrual tension. They've done some new research. Even women who did only moderate amounts of exercise at La Trobe University study found a significant improvement in their health, you see. It's always exercise. Why can't it be something easy? The study found women who exercised 3 times a week for 20 minutes at a time suffered less anxiety, depression, and mood changes than their counterparts who did not exercise. Actually, that's not right. Shouldn't it be a woman who they assess her when she's not exercising and she compares herself with herself? Agreed? You've actually, if this is correct, you're comparing two things which are not compatible. You're comparing a woman who's exercising with women who don't. Women aren't the same when it comes to PMT. Shouldn't it be the same women exercising and not exercising? See? I've ruined their... Send the DAT tap back. For pregnant women, the impact of exercise was even more marked. I don't think pregnant women should exercise. I don't think so. Well, there you are, ladies. And some women get off scot-free. They have no great problems at any time of the month. But there are other victims when it comes to PMT. And when you live with it, suddenly this little Mount Vesuvius erupts, and hell hath no fury like a woman going through that. And we should help, you know. And you're going to say, oh, men go through the same thing. No, we don't. I haven't ovulated since 88. And when we worked together in 89, remember I said to you, Glenn, I haven't ovulated for months. You said, oh, mate, I'd get that seen to. Remember that? We had that discussion. Remember we having a cup of coffee? And then I wanted to find out if I'm normal. And I said, Glenn, by the way, what do you think is normal for ovulation? He said, I've got no trouble with that. So you still ovulating all right, are you? Oh, there you are. It's a strange world that we live in, isn't it? It's 1 minute to 6. After 6, Marcus Lovett will try and tell us in his own stumbling way what snow there is falling around the world, around Australia. And Jason Morrison, little carrot top, will tell us what the police had to contend with. In the meantime, my name is Robertson, and I shall be here until 9 o'clock this morning, between 8:30 and 9. If you're awake then, if hubby's got you breakfast after washing his hand profusely, you can ring this very program on 131873 between 8:30 and 9. This is 2GB and a fabulous morning. sun is out. It's just gorgeous. And we've had a fabulous hour, 5 to 6. Where were you? I mean, what's going on here? Do you really think I want to talk to myself? That's the other person. Yes. They got a little map of the Herald about this park which I referred to yesterday morning, the one that's between the museum and the incomplete St Mary's Cathedral. And they've got active sports. One section says it's active sports. Can you have a passive sport, can you? It has to be active, hasn't it? Leisure centre? What's a leisure centre? I don't understand. There's weird words nowadays, aren't they? A leisure centre. What is that? Pool terrace? Former City Bowling Club. Yes, the word former here is a bit of a problem. Apparently they want the bowlers to go. I think the bowlers should go. It's just silly, bowling. I've seen them do it. It's silly. They should just go. You've had a good run. Just go away and grow your own vegetables. Yes, St Mary's Cathedral. Apparently St Mary's Cathedral, they're going to remove that. Just remove it. Just take a brick out after a while. The parishioners will say, gee, it's drafty in here. Just brick by brick. So that'll be gone. I made that up, but that'll get you going, won't it? Yes. All right. Anyway, there's a map there. You can have a look at that. Have a look at that. Or you don't have to look at that. I think it was very well described on this program yesterday. In fact, I was very impressed by that. Some tourists want to climb the archway of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Well, I'm, what is it, altophobic? Or is it acrophobic? Whatever. I've looked them up. I think acrophobic is a fear of pinnacles, I read somewhere, so I'm altophobic, a fear of heights. So I just couldn't cope with that. Anyway, they want to have people do this, but they might be forced back down to earth because of concerns it'll be too noisy for residents. Well, the screaming. Is this the boring little residents who don't like Luna Park, those little people there? Yes. Good of them to actually ruin Sydney. I know, and I like, we haven't got much that's intrinsically Sydney. Would you go across the Harbour Bridge? Why would you do that when you go by train for just a couple of minutes? You know, I don't, no. I actually drove a train across the Harbour Bridge once, you know that? Notch 10. I said, bloody Notch 10. I did that. It was a diesel. But that's another story. It was all official. It's all right, it's all official. Notch 10 Robertson, they used to call me. Mate, it's binary. This machine's either stationary or it's flat out. Yes. All right, our DAT machine's missing. If you've seen our DAT machine, would you, it's a grey thing about that long, and it plays little digital audio tapes, which are a bit sort of like cassettes, only a bit smaller and far better quality. It's been stolen from here. We're trying to find out who stole it, and when we do, that person, if he works here, if it's she, of course, that's their way of leaving this place. Because it's not up to them to come and just remove gear here. So we're trying to find who. We have an idea. There's a certain person we're trying to ring. He won't answer his phone. He's probably getting his wife breakfast. But anyway, if that person who's stolen the DAT machine wants to come to work, he's dead meat. You know, dead meat, as in abattoirs, as in when Homebush was an exciting place. Dead meat, an ex-person, an ex-employee, a thief, as our salesman would say. You're a thief, F-E-E-F. It's 9 minutes past 6. Marcus Lovett has appeared miraculously on the board. Hello, Marcus.
Hello, Clive.
How you going? Have you got my DAT machine, have you?
No, I don't have your DAT machine.
Oh, yeah. Well, put it this way. If you stole my DAT machine, you'd hardly admit it because you're already a criminal. So when you say, I haven't got it, that puts you right in the poo.
Oh, well, yeah, and prove that I'm in Sydney, all right?
Well, the number we rang was an 02. Kid. How's the snow at dreary Mount Hotham?
Well, we've just had the most amazing sunrise and a nice cold temperature, so it's going to be a nice spring day. We've got clear blue skies, basically, not much wind, and the cover will be really firm out there in the morning and then softening as the day goes on. But there's still plenty of snow, and for people that are thinking of coming here this weekend, that would be a good thought. Looking in New South Wales, Perisher Blue has all 50 lifts operating and all the lifts are linked together. Unfortunately for Threadboat, they've only got 10 lifts open at this stage, but they're still skiing up high. Mount Selwyn is closed for skiing at this stage.
Oh, is it?
Yep, still plenty.
So Selwyn's out?
Selwyn's out.
Yeah, okay.
So don't drive to Selwyn unless you just...
Are you okay, are you?
Oh, I'm okay, yeah.
You say you're a bit sort of depressed this morning.
Oh, no, I'm far from depressed. I'm really, really happy, actually.
It doesn't show. I'm concerned about you. You know, you and I go way back, you know.
Okay. Maybe it's because I'm lying on my stomach as I talk to you. Maybe I should...
Disgusting. Are you clothed?
Yes, I am clothed.
That's a blessing. Are we talking in a couple of hours? Will you be dressed by then?
Oh, I will be dressed by then.
Thank you, Marcus. Marcus Lovett, somewhere and somewhere else. It's 11 minutes past 6 now. We've lost this DAT machine, which is pretty important because, you know, it's worth more than the station put together. We apparently there's someone here who knows where it's gone. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Robertson.
Yes.
Hinch.
Oh, hello, I remember you. How are you going?
I'm going well. I stole it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Have you? What would you have to do with the DAT machine?
Well, I used it for the interview with the Dalai Lama.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you want, we want a studio quality.
Yeah.
We interviewed him at the Horden Pavilion, in his dressing room at the Horden Pavilion, and I don't know where it is now, though, but I last saw it on Sunday.
Oh, I see. When does the interview go to air?
Yesterday. No, Monday.
Oh, go next Monday.
Yeah, last Monday.
Last Monday.
I'm glad you pay attention to the station, Clive.
Yeah, I do, especially between 9 and 12. I pick up lots of tips about questions I've missed.
So anyway, it was last seen last Sunday, so they'll take it out of my pay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hinch. Bye-bye. There you are. Darren Hinch will be with us between 9 and 12. I don't believe him. He wouldn't know what a DAT machine was, would he? Do you think? I think he's got the wrong DAT machine. This is the big one here. Yeah. We'll find out the culprit and smash his face in, won't we? Or we'll get singled in the head, butt him. Or we'll go right to the top and talk to Jackie Love. Yeah.
Wonderful people that have done a lot for the world, like John Pierce. You know, you never think he would have gone with all his great ability. And
you know, good works have nothing to do with it. I don't want to ruin your argument here. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
It doesn't.
There you are.
But the thing is, I just believe that our soul will live on.
Do you? You want to believe that, you mean? Could you say, I want to believe that?
I suppose I'm not a very good person to say this because I don't read the Bible.
Okay, right. So
the Bible's probably the best place to start.
Okay, so Gregory, so what we're saying is, are you going to die? Tick, yes? You're going to just say, tick it? Is that tick the box? You're going to die?
Well.
Just say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know when?
Well, nobody knows when.
Right. So you're not prepared for the inevitable. You must feel very proud of yourself, Gregory. Aren't you glad you rang in?
Well, I just wanted to just throw a bit of light on that.
Yeah, okay. All right. No earring, Gregory.
But I appreciate your you know.
Yes. Like you, everyone appreciates my, whatever.
But I don't, judge people negatively because they have an earring or because they have a...
We should start. There's a growing swell of people here who don't want people to play, act the part, but they want them to be what they really are. You should do that, Gregory. Gregory, if you feel the temptation to grow your hair long and put a little elastic band around it or get an earring, would you ring me first, please? Any time of the day.
Well, I will, but I don't. It's easy to manage it short. And some people have it.
No, but if for some reason something goes horribly wrong, as a journalist say, would you ring me first? And ring me again anyway, Gregory.
Oh, sure.
Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
There's Gregory. He's talking about aging. It's 20 minutes past 5. I think God sends people who look silly for us to laugh at them. I think that's the arrangement. God says, look, I've got a sense of humour. Robertson, you're having a dull day. I'll just send you a middle-aged bloke who looks like a village idiot. And I go, oh, and I laugh, ha, 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 or stare. And God says, there you are, see? There you are, Clive. I think Greg put everyone off. No one wants to talk to me this way. It's okay. I wouldn't ring me, by the way. If I were on air, I wouldn't ring me. I think, I'd listen, but I wouldn't ring. Who knows what I'm likely to do, especially to me. Oh, if you heard me ring me, in fact, we might arrange me to ring me one morning. That'll frighten the pants off you. I mean, how much rubbish would I take from me, and how much would I take from me? That's the double question. I think you'd be very surprised. The trouble is, would I win or would I lose? I suppose for me to win, I'd also have to lose, and vice versa. An interesting little contest. What a meeting of minds, eh? You say, Robertson rang Robertson. I reckon Robertson won. You say, no, I reckon Robertson won. You reckon, do you? After about 10 minutes, I reckon Robertson was ahead of Robertson. Yeah, could be, but then Robertson got him at the end. Well, he did that. Of course, yeah, absolutely, but it was good. I bet you Robertson doesn't ring again. Well, I don't think Robertson will take his call. You'd say, that's a very good point.
Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. Worked hard all my lifetime, no help from my friends. So Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz?
Just thought I'd start again, you know. Good morning, how are you? Thank you to Mr. White Pointer Shark. It's just after the news, and I'll be here till 9 o'clock. If you'd like to ring, you can ring on 131-873 and talk to Robertson. He's a good bloke. Doesn't wear an earring and does not wear a ponytail, but it's early yet.
I can do, nothing I can say.
This is for the management.
You do what you want to, go your own sweet way. You'll go your own.
You should see this place. The hits of the Blitz. It looks like the Germans have landed. You should see our parking area. Metal everywhere.
Your own sweet way. Now I can talk to you, see it. I can talk to you at night. When it comes to love, you won't take good advice.
131-873. You can ring any time at all. If you're a lady, I'll just be like butter in your hands. He's run away, but not so Jake. Well, he's not away yet. Hello, Jake. Hello? Jake. Is it me this morning? So there you are. Well, there you are. Now, why would you ring in and then run away? I'm just a nice guy. I am just so easy to get on with. You can say you can even abuse me, like that man did yesterday. And it just doesn't work. Unless, of course, this wouldn't be a message from outer space, would it? Just a sec. See if there's some rhythm here. Just hold on. It stopped. It stopped. Yes, we'll leave it. The number, whatever you want to do with this, 131-873. Do other programs have these problems with people who ring up and is it perhaps it could well be they need to go wee-wees. You know, sometimes. You know, you don't go wee-wees and suddenly you have to go. Sometimes when you get up immediately, your system says, we want to go now. It could well be that. All right, okay. The number, however, is 131-873. He's on a mobile phone, was he? Well, I suppose all phones are sort of mobile, even the ones in phone booths. You've seen the way the vandals make the mobiles. By the way, I just said that the Darren's new car is a Betty Ford. Let's hope it doesn't rust out. It's coincidentally, these phones have now gone from being little ones, and you know how things get smaller and smaller and smaller. The phones are so small now that your mouth's nowhere near the mouthpiece. They've now produced a very big one. It's a very big one. And it's so big, I mean, you can't miss it, and it's apparently more powerful and all that sort of jazz. But they've discovered that the little buttons you hit, like the numbers you hit, are so big that you have to actually punch it with your hand, and it's called the Sleeman.
Hello, this is Kamal. Piece of cake.
I'll buy one. Oh, I think, did we play this a little while ago? I don't know. If you'd like to ring, you can on 131-873. I fell in one of those moods this morning. If you're learning, you'll die.
Boogie with a suitcase. Go living in a disco. Forget about the rat race. Let's do the milkshake. It's sounding like a hot cake. Buy some, beat by bow. Talk about hot music. Talk about hot music. I want to dedicate it. Everybody made it. Infiltrated. Activated.
Federal Transport Minister John Sharp is urging motorists to drive 10 kilometres per hour more slowly. He says speed is a factor in 1/3 of road deaths. Yes, that's stating the obvious. Of course, speed is a factor. If all cars were stationary, there'd be much fewer accidents, wouldn't there?
What about the Betty Ford?
I suppose his heart's in the right place.
Darren Hinch from 9 o'clock this morning.
We're talking Sydney, talking to GB.
Shooters Party Chairman John Tingle. Why would you call anyone Tingle? Have you ever wondered where these names come from? Tingle. What would he be middle in the Middle Ages? Oh, Mr. Tingle, come here, would you? What if you could save our marriage? Could you put something into it? Oh, you believe you're a tingler. I'll leave you alone with my wife for about 10 minutes. I'll come back. I'll imagine she'd be ready to go. Would that be right, sir? Thank you. It'll cost me £1. It's well spent. He told someone the discovery that the Liberal Party's placed the Shooters Party 12th on his list of preferences had been the deciding factor. So there, nah. But Mr Tingle, an Upper House MP in the New South Wales Parliament, says the Shooters Party move had been made with a deal of soul-searching. Anyway, what does all that mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? News Corporation boss Rupert Murdoch, what do you call anyone Rupert? What would you call anything Rupert? Flies into Sydney on Monday, ready to be briefed on today's Federal Court Appeal bench judgment in the boring, super boring, league boring case. Mr Murdoch is coming to Australia for News Limited's annual meeting in Adelaide on October the 15th. News and Super League chiefs, don't call me chief, and I'm expected to be in court when the decision is handed down at 2:15 this afternoon. I might go in for them. Representing News Limited, here's Mr Robertson. New South Wales opposition leader Peter Collins has come under fire for attacking for attacking the state government's pledge to extradite accused pedophile Philip Bell from Europe. Mr Collins told journalists yesterday Mr Bell still jet-setting the world and thumbing his nose at the government. How do you thumb your nose, by the way? How do you... Oh, you put your thumb under your nose and go, that's right. I see, so it's actually not thumbing ears, thumb to the nose. Paul Whelan, the police minister, and Police Commissioner Peter Ryan, out of the bill, says the Bell case is an operational matter and should be kept out of politics. Here, or not. It says now here, turning overseas. Good morning, I'm hungry. Where's the food? The way to a man's heart is through his tum-tum. Or close to it. Now, what's some food, please? If you really wanted to crawl here, little blonde person, and remember, you're growing older, you know the rules, don't you? Yes. It would behoove you to bring in little gifts of food. And bring in your little blonde friends who are just a couple of classes below you at school. You know the ones? Monday, okay. Just bring them in and I can just look at them. That's what women are for. You all know you need to be looked at. That's what it's all about. So could you do that, could you? Yes. Now? You're right. Selka's a loony. Did you know that? And she asked me what sort of loony was she. I said, well, I don't think it's genetic. I think she's done it herself. Oh. And he says, is Kirsty a loony? I said, no, Kirsty isn't. I was right, wasn't I? Yes. Rose was a loony. Yes. And Selka's a loony, but you're not. Mm-hmm. But you are getting older. I just think it behoves you now to crawl a bit, You know what happens, Like flowers a couple of days old, you start to think, is it time to put them in the little garbage heap, Life's cruel. Yes. What's wrong with you? You look like you're rage ready for this weekend, are you? Okay, what is it? Is it a cup of coffee with your friends, or is it going to the pub, or is it someone's little birthday boring party? Is it a boring, is it? There's two of them, and what are they? One's 22, isn't it? Another one's 19, is that right? 2 21st, how lovely. Must be costing a lot in gifts. Yes. Why don't you knit them something? Knit them a small sheep or something. Are they boys or girls at the 21st? It's a girl one and a boy one. Am I going to see why don't you invite me along? You could come. I can rage just as, you and I go way back. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. I could go along as your man. Okay. You see? Let's say, oh. All right, so there you are. That's the Blondes program for the weekend. It's pretty intellectual, isn't it? As we heard yesterday from a few people, that when Asians come here, they don't want to see Asians. I think that gives a sense of humour to the whole thing, doesn't it? Imagine if you went to France and go, "G'day, mate, how you going?" Excuse me, are you French? No, I'm bloody Australian. Take me to your leader. Shut your face, mate. It wouldn't be quite the same. You want some little French person to say, hello, I'm French, and we're all like that. You want a good time? You say, no, I'm too embarrassed.
Too human to happen, and who wants to be involved and who wants it.
I tell you, Dr. de Bergerac, what I would prefer over dolphins, not that it matters what I think sharks in the harbour would be very fascinating. I think I would really be intrigued by sharks whizzing around. Could you bring sharks back, or would they come as well?
If we bring the dolphin, if we do bring the dolphin, it's a safe way not to have sharks too.
Oh.
But we will still. If you want, bringing the dolphin is bringing a safe environment for people to go swimming and to...
Oh, no, forget it. No. No, I think the sharks would be more entertaining. I'd love to whiz across on the ferry and see a big white pointer outside. I think that probably would have greater impact on the world. People would much rather see a harbour full of sharks than dolphins. I'm thinking of the commercial aspect.
Okay, we could consult the community to know.
Okay. All right, madam. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Olivia de Bergerac, dolphin within society. I think my relationship with hers is a very short one, isn't it? Huge shark like in Jaws. Ah, the South Spain has gone to the bottom. I mean it. I think shark. Wouldn't you love to go have this trip and they could have little Kokoda treks in Sydney, rowing a boat from Sydney to Manly? Will you make it? He's almost there. Oh, he's been eaten. Oh, well, there you are. Wouldn't it be good if they could work on making really huge sharks? You know, about 100 feet long. I mean, now, I bet you anything, if you had Sydney Harbour chock-a-block with sharks, the tourists would come from all over the world. It would be terrific. Then we could bet Darren and a few other people to swim from Sydney for a good cause, swim from Sydney to Manly, you see. You wouldn't even bother to have a little flag at the end, would you? The trouble is all the sharks might leave. I've been a shark before. I know about these things. You bastards! They'd all swim out to sea. Yes. Perhaps we'll try and road test it with someone else. 18 past. Mr. 9, and good morning, Norma. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Robertson.
Good morning, madam.
I'm very interested in the suggestion by the doctor to introduce dolphins.
Yeah, not as good as sharks, you must admit that.
Oh, now, that's the subject I wish to speak to you about.
Oh, yeah.
I was born at Bondi. My toes were dipped in the water when I was about 2 weeks of age.
What about the rest of you?
All of us, yes.
Yes, right.
I have seen the sharks.
Great, aren't they?
They're too close.
Great.
And I think that the sharks would be a wonderful thing in Sydney Harbour.
Wonderful.
Think of the decorators' opportunity to line the walls around the apartments in Sydney with sharks' heads. That's what they did in some places.
Oh, no, killies. No, don't kill them. No, let them live.
I'll let them live.
Oh, yes.
Well, then I'm thinking of could I apply to the government for a grant to study the effects on the dolphins?
If you could sort of make that slightly artistic, you could get an arts grant, couldn't you? Why not the effect of dolphins in art, you see? Like in art, and then you get an arts grant.
Yes.
You'll have to...
I do a little painting. So
You might have to live in Glebe and grow a bit of facial hair, though.
Well, the effect... has she been in touch with the effect on the brain of the dolphins with all the activity in Sydney Harbour? What that would be?
Yes. Well, she's an idealist. She likes to think that we can communicate with dolphins. I say, why bother?
Well...
I mean, why talk to dolphins? We can't talk to each other. Is that why she wants to do it? I don't know.
Yes. And the thing is that along the coast, the dolphins are peacefully doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Introducing them into Sydney Harbour, the effect of all that activity.
Yeah, you're right. You're quite right. Of course, I think even humpback whales, you could fit probably 40 large humpback whales into Sydney Harbour. It would stop shipping, but wouldn't it put us on the map?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, I think the sharks are probably the way to go.
What a draw card. And